Mark Cavendish, welcome to the Sports Agents. Thank you very much for joining us. How is You look very well. How's retirement?
Oh, bless you! You've made my day. Thank you. It's wonderful. I'm loving life. Thank you. Like it's actually been almost to the day a year since I really stopped racing. Okay, properly stopped at the Tour de France when it finished in July last year. Then I did some races. I finished my career in Singapore last year, and I'm going back there, and it'll be good to see everyone else who's been going and observe it as a fan. And that's what I've been doing this year. Not just cycling. I've been to loads of sports events this year. I've been able to have a summer holiday for the first time, and I'm I'm loving it. I'm loving life. Thank you.
And do you think it helps to retire, first of all, on your terms, and secondly, knowing you did everything that you wanted to do in the sport? Because so few sports people get that privilege.
You're 100% right, Gabby. I know how fortunate I am to do it. Don't get me wrong, it didn't come from luck, it come from hard work, but I had a cake with the icing on it. But to put that cherry on was like, I know I'm in a very fortunate position to have to do that. I can start my new life without kind of any regrets, I guess. Okay, there's things that always change in my career. I've talked about that in my new book, but I don't have any regrets. I'll never go back and like wish I carried on and stuff. I'm very content.
I was with sitting next to Sam Burgess, the England Rugby League player, as we watched England Australia at Wembley on Saturday, and he winced at virtually every tackle. Bearing in mind he has experienced that all the way through his career, and I'm thinking, well, thank goodness you're wincing then, because that means it is as tough as it looks. Am I right in thinking that now you have watched the Tour de France rather than be in it, you are astonished at the speeds that you reached when you were doing it and that they are doing now? It takes your breath away.
I was there this year at the Tour de France watching. I was an ambassador for the Tour de France, and actually it's the first Tour de France sprint that I'd ever watched, because I was either in it or crashed out and I didn't want to see it, I watched them on TV, but being able to be there and see it, I was like, oh, and they ride real close to each other.
They do.
I was like, oh my life. Like, yeah, it's pretty nuts.
I guess you can see what makes it such a compelling sport for people and why it's such a brilliant, kind of theatrical spectacle. But just going back to your retirement and being on your terms, it nearly wasn't. You had to dig deep and stage one of the great sporting comebacks back in 2021.
Yeah, like it was just persistence, really. Actually, for me, during the last parts of my career, okay, I can look back and say like I was older, but I kind of became a victim of my own success, I guess, by winning a lot early on. That like one Tour de France stage makes a rider's whole career.
Mm-hmm.
Like one in their lifetime would make their career. Like I knew quite early that winning one a year and it'd be like, oh, it's like it was seen as a failure, But I came to kind of live with that. But like the hardest thing for me was not the winning in the end. It was getting the opportunity to win. And that was something you never kind of taught as a sports person growing up, is it? You're very performance driven and you work hard and you get better and the results come from that. The nature of professional sport, you have to be selected for the opportunity, and there's a lot of people that want to do the same job as you do. That's life. And
yeah, you touch on that in the book, the politics of fighting to be selected and fighting to be in the right team, effectively.
Well, first of all, it was trying to understand it as well, because I'm quite a logically driven person, and something that doesn't make any logical sense, it was hard for me to kind of understand. And then, like this is the first book, so it's my fourth book, but it's the first one that I'm not riding, so I could actually sit down and like really think about everything that can be taken away from it, rather than just saying what I want to say, and like really think what can be taken away from. And I'm a 40-year-old man, of course, everything you say needs to be taken away. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it was trying to understand it for myself, but also explain that this was as objectively as possible, not sit there and go, poor me, I was in this situation, but look at it as I think I've often talked about things I've learned as a sports person. Like I can take those skills into real life, and no sports person lives in the real world, but what I can take to real life and what other people can take, which, okay, it's not a sport and aspect they're doing, but real life is full of the same kind of obstacles and wanting to be successful in something you want to do, or the politics or the bureaucracy of stuff, and trying to analyze that it can be kind of non-endemic as possible, that can be taken into the real world and put into practice, you know.
So when you are involved in that, and you're trying to get a grasp on it within your career, is it like being in a washing machine then? Is it that confusing?
Well, I don't know. It's just that ultimately you can't stop and sit back and try and analyze it, because then you're not moving forward. At the same time, you have to keep going with your job.
So it's like being on a treadmill then, actually, isn't
exactly, it? Exactly, yeah. It's exactly like that. And sport is completely scientifically driven now, do you know? Like, if you don't fit into that science, if you complete racer, there's no science that can we don't have the ability to analyze that, you know.
Yeah, but that's it, isn't it, Mark? I suppose everything is scientific, or more and more scientific and analytical and data-driven nowadays within sport. So much stuff. I mean, you know, team sports, individual sports. And yet, for all of that, sometimes things just happen. Or sometimes a once-in-a-generation athlete, cyclist, footballer comes through that could blow some of that data apart just because they are unique in what they do.
I think cycling has that at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah. And therefore, sometimes in searching for a reason, there is no reason for something that's happened.
It's really, but when you have the majority of people that make decisions are only after that, it makes it hard for someone, you know, like me.
Yeah.
It's like for instance, Geraint, like, is absolutely naturally gifted, you know, incredible bike racer, incredible person, but objectively looking, like, incredible talent. So his numbers could say he'd be able to do this, even if he hadn't done anything for a number of years. Like, his potential to do something is always there. Whereas with me, it was quite the opposite, in that you could do everything, even if there was never a potential for you to do something and you've done something. So if you go off the boil for a month or two, you know, it's looked at as no kind of potential to do it, I guess.
So getting back as a 39-year-old in 2024 and finally winning that 35th stage, then tell us a little bit about how deep you had to dig and what was going on in your life in those years before.
Yeah, I write a lot about. I've tried to be as frank as possible in the book, you know, and as objective as possible. This is a situation, you know. I tried to. It was easy to write like, "Oh, poor me, this was hard" and stuff like that. And what you're getting out of that? Do you know what I mean? I try to be as objective as possible. This is a situation, and this is what I tried to do to overcome it. Yeah, I couldn't. It was hard for me to get a job sometimes, you know. From the reasons I've just talked about, you know. Oh, he's old. Yeah, but like the very fact I'm winning at that age, just because I'm not winning 6 Tour de France stages like I used to. I'm still winning, and like I said, 1 Tour de France stage can make a whole rider's career.
Did it hurt more? Did it hurt physically more at 39?
Oh, 100% it does. I think anyone, when you get older, it's you obviously have a base fitness and level that comes from years of doing what you do, but it's harder to just get fit, isn't it? You know, and I think post-COVID, like through, I think the fact that one, like we talked about, science has come in, you're able to pinpoint who has the potential to do something, based on a lot more people riding bikes, based on also people can see what they can get from cycling. Like when I started cycling, when Geraint started, you didn't get anything from cycling other than doing what you loved. You know, now it's a real financial or fame game from getting it. So that is obviously going to be a drive to people want to do it. And with all those, you see that all sport, not just cycling, has lifted up a level. You know, but cycling, obviously being a cyclist, I noticed that level lifting up, and so you have to kind of adapt to that physically, you know, and of course that stopped from the back in the day when I could just go and ride my bike and I'd be good. Like you really have to look specifically at what you do and try and real tailor it into what the goal is at hand.
But it's not just physically harder. I'm guessing it's mentally harder as well, because you talk that, you just said it then, back in the day, you could just go and ride your bike and do what you do. And when you're doing that, you're probably thinking, I've got hundreds more opportunities. I have plenty more opportunities in my career. Whereas as you get older, are you thinking, this could be my last chance?
I didn't really look at it like that. I kind of,
Right.
throughout my career, I always looked at just trying to win as much as possible, you know. And I talk about it in the book, it was kind of a narrative that was spun to try and win 35 stages. It was not me saying that, you know. And I couldn't see how it's almost like you could fail for not doing that. Like we got, say, Novak Djokovic, for instance.
Yeah.
If he doesn't win a 25th Grand Slam title, does that mean he's failed at his career? It doesn't. He's won 24. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just like that. And
you talk about the personality that it takes, and interestingly, Cav is somebody very different to Mark. And I think, did you call Cav a bit of a dickhead at times? But Mark wasn't, I'm assuming.
I guess, like, you know, like I think any sports person growing up, like, especially of a sport where you're quite institutionalized quite young, you don't, and education's not there for, you have people saying yes or doing what you want, and it's quite normal, you know. And I think I try, like, I'm honest in self-reflecting, saying you like that, you know. And
but you could turn that on and off.
no, not really. You grow up anyway, do you know. And I like things out how I like them, I guess. And
I guess you're describing the selfishness of a top
direct.
sports person.
I'm just quite direct. Do you know what I mean? I think so. That's one thing. You just learn diplomacy as you get older, don't you? And, that's for everyone. That's not just me. It's not just a sports person. I think I'm able to self-reflect on that and talk about it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm willing to talk about it. And like as a father, you know, for sure, my kids are going to make mistakes. I think the one thing that parents say, you try not all you want if your kids not have to make the same mistakes you made, I guess, or be different. Everything you've learned from your life, if you can educate your kids on that, then that's what your job is, you know. And like I said, like growing up, like I started cycling because I wanted to ride my bike. You know, I loved riding my bike, and then I wanted to be a professional because I wanted to do what I loved as a job. I knew I was quite good at it, but there wasn't anything to be gained from it. Like, you know, it was I wanted to do what I loved as a job, and everything that comes else from that's not what you want. You just want to ride your bike. You just want to do your sport.
Did you keep the enjoyment when it became a job?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I think I'd be lying if I said you take for granted the fact you're doing what you love for a job. That's everyone. I can guarantee you everyone said that. Like even Andre Agassi in his autobiography, he said by the end he didn't like tennis. And I think you could analyse, I don't want to talk out of turn. I don't want to talk for him. But analysing it, I think maybe he didn't like the stuff that came outside of actually just playing tennis. As a result of playing tennis, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Fundamentally, if he broke it down, I think you could say he like, and that got to a point like that for me in cycling. You know, you lose. It's easy to take for granted what you dreamed of doing. You know, in anything in life, not just sport, isn't it? It's easier to climb up than it is to stay at the level you're at. You know, that's the hardest thing, is to stay at that level. And you can lose the perspective of what you love because you've only got stuff to lose then, not to gain. And as you get older, I learn, and obviously my career was nearly over a few times. I was able to learn that I was very fortunate to do what I love for 20 years as a job. So
in that period, those few years where you were challenging with your mental health, your physical health, and challenged about getting back on a team, something happened to you and your family which would rock anybody and would change anybody's perspective in life, and that was the robbery that happened, to be held at knife point in your own home with your family there. And you write about that and how people's reaction to it as well, I think, surprised you. There was kind of, some of it was quite jealous almost, that you had things that were that valuable, watches that were that valuable, that people would want to come and steal from you. And it feels, reading that it's still a work in progress, getting over that experience.
Yeah, unfortunately, like, things like this happen now. I don't talk that much about it in the book because actually talking about it is it's not a nice thing to have to talk about, or my family to listen to as well, you know. And Gary, you've got a nice life because of what you do and that, you know. And if you work hard, you work very hard. And you wouldn't like someone like, I don't know, resenting you for it, I guess. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's the same for anyone. And I kind of steered. That's one thing I did steer away from in the book, because it's not nice to talk about. And unfortunately, these things happen in the world now, and I wouldn't wish this kind of thing on anyone. You know.
Did it fundamentally change you as a person, though?
I think not any more than a lot of other things that in my life have changed, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, would it change? Do you think would it change you?
I'm sure it would. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure it would.
absolutely.
It changes like how you see the world a lot. Not all the world, but just everyday things. It can. Yeah.
Just talking about the things that come with. It's interesting hearing you talk about the fundamental thing that you love is riding your bike, and then as you get better and better and better, all the stuff that comes with it, and you make the great comparison with other sports. And I always kind of remind myself that when I'm doing the job that I do, that everybody who I'm talking about started off doing the sport they're doing because they loved it as a kid, you know. And I guess the key to, or one of the keys to the success is how you manage all the stuff that goes with it and stay sane. And I guess for you, reading the book, the family that you have around you is one of the things that is of absolute kind of vital importance, and you can feel the love that you have for both your immediate family and the extended family that you have.
I think everybody starts life, if they're especially sports people, you know, there's a lot of people, or in the entertainment world as well, you have a big network, you know. And when everything's great, this network's massive. When things aren't good, it really gets smaller and smaller, doesn't it? And I'm very fortunate that I've got this great little network, my direct family, and people have been with me often for the best part of my career as well. And of course, it takes times that aren't as pleasant for that network to dwindle down to those actual close people. But I think everybody, as you get older, you know, you bet with a small group of people that you love and love you and trust, and a big network of not so much.
Do you have goals and targets now? We had Geraint in the studio not that long ago, who was already felt like he wanted to run a sub 2 hour marathon by the time we'd finished with him. He was setting all sorts of more physical goals for himself. What are you very laid back about what comes next? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm just retired, you know, and I've actually enjoyed the year. I've done incredible stuff that I couldn't do the last 20 years.
Have you skied?
Have you skied?
I
Yeah,
haven't
that's what
skied
we
yet,
asked.
you know. I want to ski, like the kids ski, and we want to go as a family holiday. I got the first summer holiday in August with the family.
Wow.
Oh
First
my
ever.
word!
Super nice. It was very nice, you know.
And you've had the call, I'm sure, with your ballroom dancing background as a kid with your mum. I'm sure you've had the call from Strictly.
Yeah, like, you know, I'm quite interested in the management side. I quite like to stay in cycling
dancing?
more than do that. No. I'd quite like. I've been working quite still a bit in the sport. You know, I love the sport. You know, and yeah, I'd like to continue moving it.
You've got quite strong opinions on how the sport should sell itself as well, I think, in terms of the storytelling.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's not necessarily. It's opinions. It doesn't mean I think it's better than what's getting done.
But how it could be improved.
Yeah, I do. You know, I think I've been very fortunate to be part of a generation that's seen the sport grow, especially in our wonderful country. You know, amount of people riding bicycles and that, and as an absolute lover of the sport and lover of the bicycle as a vehicle, quite passionate in saying how I love it and I see it, and maybe that's the same way that other people is. Maybe it's not, you know, but I still like to project that in the hope that things can grow. As a sports person, you like to see your performance grow, and that's likewise with. I've seen the growth of cycling. I like to see it continue to grow, and I'll always give my opinion, whether they're right or wrong. I'll always give my opinion.
Is it when you talk about the management side of things? Is that managing young cyclists and trying to guide them through this landscape?
I think it all comes as part and parcel of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think anywhere where there can be improvement, both personal and professional. I know I have experience in both, that I can hopefully try and pass on.
Do you still get on the bike now? Pop down to the shops for Peter?
I do, yeah. I actually, I don't train on the bike. Like, I don't go out and try and get better. I go out and enjoy riding my bike like I did when I was younger.
On your own?
I don't go too much on my own.
Do you have a tandem?
Because of that, because it turns into training. I do go out on my own sometimes. No, I don't have a tandem.
Yeah, but you can't possibly be going out with anybody who's anywhere near your level, can you? So
you'd be surprised.
Really?
It doesn't matter. Like,
the midlife lycra warriors.
The good thing about bike riding is that you can just go and explore as fast or slow as you want.
Yeah.
I don't go out. When I do go out, I don't want to race. I don't even want to race at the top of the hill. I'd race as long as it doesn't hurt. I don't really want to hurt anymore.
What do you need to cover to feel like you've had a workout, or is it about the hills and speed?
I really don't want to feel like I've had a workout. I want to feel like I'm being on a bike ride. It's really like that. Yeah.
So what? 50 miles, 60 miles? Knock that off quite easily.
Yeah, I did 100 miles the other week. You still ride a bike.
Yeah.
I can ride a bike, and just as it was for most of my career, it's a lot in your head. There's a finish line, you just got to get there.
Do people spot you?
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Imagine being overtaken.
Yeah. Because presumably you're all kitted up and everything. So do you get spotted when you're out on your bike?
I guess so. That's just normal, isn't it? I don't know.
It's too fast to hear the shouts.
Do you guys ride bikes?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Good on you. There is a sense of freedom from it, isn't there? Do you know?
Yeah, and I'd do it all the time if I didn't feel so unsafe at times. It's cars that I've ridden in France, and it's they love cyclists, don't they?
Yeah.
So you can ride. I've ridden in Portugal. 30, 40 miles, you don't see another car. And you're in England, you just feel a car is at any moment going to knock you off into a bush, because they just don't seem to.
I mean, that's it. I would do the Transpennine Way here because that hasn't got any cars on it, and and that's beautiful. And I was actually in Bakewell yesterday, and again there are trails there that don't. It's the car side of it, Mark, that really puts me off just going out on the open road. I suppose it is scary. It is really scary when you're on a bike with cars on country lanes flying past you, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's not. You can't generalise drivers. You can't generalise cyclists. You can't generalise pedestrians. It's an individual in a vehicle that makes it. It's not a generalisation.
Oh no, it's just that the possibility of a car not seeing you, and then potholes in this country as well. That was the one thing I noticed between cycling here and in France and in Portugal. There just weren't the potholes, so you kind of weren't worried about them. So I just need to find safer routes. But when I go out with my husband, he lets me kind of stay in, and he goes out and takes the majority of the road. And so then I feel.
Is that on a tandem? I'm obsessed with tandems.
No, it is not. But I mean, it is the most. It's a beautiful feeling when you have a lovely ride, isn't it? And you come back and you just, you feel great. It's and as a lot of people in this country have found out, thanks to you and your generation, it's just been such a boom, hasn't it, over the last 20 years? And also, can I be quite shallow and say the kit is marvellous? I'm obsessed with the kit.
Oh, Fletch, I love how you described that. That's exactly the feeling that I love. Actually, I've put on a little bit of weight, so I don't feel as great
as good in your kit
in lycra anymore. Not much, but I just yeah.
Welcome to my world, Mark. Honestly,
I was about to say, I'm sure you look better than Mark. No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you bloody were. I could see it. I'll get in there first.
It's really great to have you on, The Sports Agents, and look forward to seeing what you do next. I think we could all do with seeing you doing a cha-cha-cha, though, or a foxtrot on Strictly, with your background as a kid in dancing. And I'm sure, you know what?
You
Kat,
swerved that very well when she asked him,
your
Mark. I was
kids,
very
your
impressed with
kids
that.
would absolutely love it as well. They would just be absolutely over the moon with you doing that. I'm just doing a bit of a work here, a bit of groundwork for BBC channels.
Don't do it, Mark. I'll balance it out. Don't do it.
Believe, Achieving the Impossible by Mark Cavendish is out now, and it is quite the read.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thank you, guys.
The Sports Agents
With Gabby Logan and Mark Chapman.